Hello and good afternoon. I am so grateful, first and foremost, that you have tuned in to Simply Free Little Talk. I am your host, Free Little. I thank you for the time that you're taking to tune in to hear from an amazing guest. Her name is Karen Sims. But before I invite her in, I want to just say, please stop, share like, and subscribe because what's going to happen tonight, what your ear gates will receive and your eye gates will be blessed to see from Miss Karen Sims. Your life is getting ready to transform because she has transforming anointing on her life. Without further ado, let me welcome her in and we'll share more about who she is and all that she's doing. Thank you. Hello, Karen Sims.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, super excited to be here with you free tonight. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it is my pleasure that you're here, Karen. Let me
Yes.
just get right into it. I shared with them that you have an anointing for transformation on your life. You have the ability to literally take an individual, develop them according to God's will, and
Amen.
cause what's the best already on the inside of them, and you pull it out. So you have an activation anointing. Share with us all about what God said to you. I'm excited. It's just so much to her, guys. It's so much.
Oh my. It happened just I want to say that I started listening more keenly a few years ago. And so my dad is a pastor. I've grown up in the church my entire life. Those who are PKs, I fit all of the buttons, the good
Yeah,
ones and the not so good ones. Okay. We're just
I
gonna say
love it.
straight bad ones. That's all we're
I
gonna say
love
for
it. I
now.
love it.
And so, we a lot of people dismiss the voice of the Lord because they really listening for Charleston Heston
I,
versus
I was
versus
trying
the actual voice of God where
yes.
he's speaking to us and saying, you know what? Can nobody else make no fried chicken like you? Can nobody bake a cake like you? Can't
Come on.
nobody get them children right like you? There's
Ooh.
nobody, can't nobody be free like Free
Yes.
Little could be free. And
Mm.
sometimes, I love it because so I'm Karen Sims. I'm a mother of 5 children,
Yes, you are.
grown children, 4 boys, 1 daughter. And I have 8 point something grandchildren because I got
Yes, and
8 grandchildren
counting.
and 2 more on the way and counting. But here's the deal. Um, you gotta love the heart of a child because a child gonna ask any question without filters. And many of
Mm.
us have been redirected by the filters in our life. And
Yes.
then we forgot or we couldn't hear the frequency that God has been speaking to
Mm.
us because the TV is too loud, the husband is too loud, the video game is too loud, the boss is too loud,
The
the work,
boss.
the church is too loud. I know this seems crazy,
Wow,
but
no.
when we get to dig in on when did God tell me? How did he tell me to do it? Even down to the name Twisted Threads. A lot of people they like Twisted Threads. You do hair? No, I don't do nobody's hair. Or do you make clothes? No, I don't make clothes. But here's what I do. I take the
Wow.
vision that God has given to you with the vision, with the activation anointing that he's given to me. And with our threads twisted, we are able to
Come
create
on.
a beautiful
Mm.
tapestry for your life
For your
together.
life.
So it's not dry cleaning. You're not
Ah,
dropping your mess on over here and I'm gonna fix it and give it back to you. It's about
I
us
love it.
identifying your not just your weaknesses, because a lot of times, it's those weaknesses that will cause us to think like we're less than, have imposter syndrome, and then we wind up not
Yes.
doing anything. But we want to highlight. So literally in the business world, they talk about your strength finders.
Yes.
And there's the same type of mindset when you say, well, what are you good at? Well, I could only do one thing.
Mm.
Well, guess
My,
what?
my.
God will multiply that one thing
That
and
one thing.
allow you
Yes.
to connect with the right person at the right time. And your one
Wow.
thing with that person's one thing. See, many of us forget that biblically we're told that there are many members, one body. That
Ah.
means there's many different points of contact, and we all working
Absolutely.
towards the same goal. Now, if you take your one fried chicken and that sister who can make that mac and cheese, and then you get
Mm.
somebody who can make a cake, guess what? Y'all can open a catering business and literally won't nobody go hungry or broke.
I
This is
love it,
real
Karen.
simple. This is
Well, let me say this because I
yeah.
don't want anyone confused. This lady is so amazing. There is just a list of things, and I had to write them down because I didn't want to miss anything. But I do want everyone to know, yes, because one of my questions was I wanted her to explain what Twisted Threads was, and she just
Yes.
gave you a little snippet of it. She didn't go into great detail yet because I don't want her to spoil the story. But she has a bachelor's degree in arts and marketing. And I think that's interesting, especially as we continue on in the conversation. You'll know why I say that's very interesting. But however, she grew up in East Orange, New
Yes.
Jersey, and now she's in North Carolina. I just love God shifted you from one place to another, and you have a testimony with that. We're going to allow you to speak on that. But
Yeah.
I want them to understand that you're the owner and the principal
Yes.
of the Twisted Threads, which is not doing hair. It's not that she's sewing anyone's clothes or stitching up a patch, but she is assisting others to find their God given niche. And as I stated, which should be in your bio, look, I'm critiquing now. She has an
Let me retype.
activation anointing. That's what the Holy Spirit gave me as reading her bio. I was like, no, no, no. She's activating the best of the best that's already on the inside of a person and pulling it out of them. So I get the Twisted Threads. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this is awesome. And it's
Yeah.
Twisted Threads LLC.
Yes, yes, that's the business part of it. So
Yes, but
we're and I'm grateful for that because
yes.
when God gives vision, a lot of
Oh,
times
come
we
on,
may
talk
not
about it.
ask, but if we ask, He will give a complete vision for where we need to be, how we need to do it, and
Mm,
how we can literally continue and build and grow. So foundationally, one of the things that I focus on in my niche, usually coaches have a niche. My niche is vision casting and goal success strategy.
yes,
Like
yes.
those are the two areas that I focus on. Why? Because a lot of times we do have things that are in our life that we need. We've got relationship coaches,
Mhm.
we have financial coaches,
Yes,
and I usually hook up with those folks to be like, okay, get my life right, help me
yes,
snatch this thing together. But when it comes to goal success, the thing is this, and you and I free have had a few conversations, but it's
yes,
about
absolutely. We have.
when you are able, and this is not really a super religious thing. This
Ah,
is a life principle that you can attach, whether you are Christian, Muslim, Buddhist,
that's
like
right.
literally, this is the thing. When you understand that there was a purpose for your birth date and for you still being here today, those are two simple
Wow.
things that doesn't take a lot for us to get into. But what are you going to do with that? Back in the day, we used to
Ah,
sing a song, and the words of the song said, "What did you do with your life today?
mm-hmm.
Did
That's
you
the one.
use it wisely or
Yes.
throw it? It's a precious gift that
Mm,
you didn't earn, something that you didn't have to go to school to learn. Listen, I'm from that era, okay, of church
mhm,
folks. I'm
mhm.
from that era of church folks. What
That poor guy.
what did I do? So if you just focus on your corner of the world
Yes.
and understand that God's going to connect you in the right time as we literally take a step towards nothing, he will build a whole sidewalk right where you're
Yes.
putting it.
Whatever he needs to do
That
for
part.
you.
That part. So it's a lot
Mm,
of faith that is required when you're thinking about goal success, but it
yes.
is about tapping into the you. Now, here's the easy and the hard part. The easiest thing for us to do is to tap into ourselves because
Ah,
no assembly required. We don't need no other equipment. You don't need a yoga mat. You
I
don't need
love it. No
prayer. You
equipment
don't need
needed.
a gym membership. But here's the hardest thing to do: focusing on ourselves.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the easiest and the hardest thing are the same thing. We hear that nugget where people say the person who says they can and the person who says they cannot, both are right. Both are right. But when you connect with and kind of the service for me is
Mhm.
connecting with somebody who can be an accountability partner with you
Yes.
and for you, reminding you
Wow.
of the goodness that's already in your life. I love the exercise that you mentioned. So I need to share that free,
Come
because
on, come on,
whoever
let's
shared
do it.
that with you is getting a gratitude journal and
Yes,
writing down. You know
absolutely.
what? Because sometimes you got to remind yourself. For any of you who are in business, usually annually you get a performance review, and they usually tell you, well, you did good. Now, here's the thing that I always have a problem with.
Mm,
I can't remember. I got a team in my professional job of
yes.
15. I don't
Okay.
remember what they did last week, so I can't get a whole year stuff. So here's what I asked them, a way to help me. And there's a
Okay.
new song, and it's called I'm bragging on my God. I call it a brag sheet.
Ooh, I
Brag
like the brag
about the
sheet.
things that have happened in your life. One, because here it's the same thing as a gratitude journal. I'm
Mhm.
thankful for my life. I'm thankful for my health. I did a testimony yesterday. I said, I thank the Lord for life, health, and strength and
Mhm.
common sense.
Come on.
Because
I love his
that's
wisdom.
another session.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
That's another. Yes, it is free. But when we understand kind of the focus of
Yeah.
when we get into those different places, because all of us have a woe
All
is me
of us.
moment. Lord, why
All
you
of
choose me? Lord, why I gotta go through this? Look at them over there.
us.
Lord, they don't even serve you right over there.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Ah, I had to get off of that box. I'm just being honest. Come on, transparency is the key.
That part, but having that moment of gratitude and being able to brag on our God. You know what, Lord?
Brag on me.
I,
Brag
I
on me.
had to pay $50 for gas, but thank you for blessing me to have it.
Thank you,
I had
Lord.
to go over there and handle this business and this
Ah,
bill. Thank you for that, Lord. I thank you for the coupon that the person gave me to save me $10. Like,
come
listen,
on.
when we start praising God and being focused and having a heart of
That's it.
gratitude for what some might consider a little thing,
Mhm.
$10 off of my bill. Y'all don't know what's in my pocket and what else I need to
Ah.
do with it. And then that little becomes
Ooh,
much, because that little moment of gratitude builds and
it
builds and
does.
builds and
Oh my
builds. And
God, it
when we
builds.
get the opportunity to see God's goodness in our everyday life, if
Yes.
you never go to church, you still
Mhm.
are able to see God's goodness in the entire world. But we got to clean the glasses. My sister always fussing at me
Come
because my
on,
glasses
clean
always
them rose-colored glasses.
listen. And sometimes we always have the sunglasses on, so everything looks dim.
Ah,
That
that's a good one.
gratitude journal helps us brighten up our view. And by brightening our view, we change our mindset
Yes, it's a
about the
mindset.
possibilities of
Mhm.
impossibilities.
Ah,
That part. I got to shout out my dad on that one because he did a
shout
feature
out.
with me.
Tell
I
Dad,
was like,
give Dad his props.
I'm using. I said, that's a twisted thread. We gonna use that one. The possibility of
I love it.
impossibilities. When
Wow.
we just believe what God has said about us. And so
Mhm.
I try to be that voice for people, try to help them, try to identify obstacles because of the training that I've had in marketing, in
Yes.
management, in educational leadership, change management, all of those things. And then I'm able to flip that over and use it in a way that I know that it's enhanced my life both professionally and personally. So
Yes.
it's a lot.
Well, what I love is I wanted people, just like it's flowing, I wanted to be this type because the way that it's flowing, because I wanted individuals to understand there's more to you. There's always much more to us. And I like that you understand that you can be whomever you choose to be and whatever you choose to be when you choose to be that. It's all, but that's applicable to all of our lives. Because listen up, guys, she is a motivational speaker, an actor, a performer. I like that. Workshop facilitator. But I love the fact that you mentioned about the goal setting because here's what she states for what Twisted Threads is: it inspires, it impacts, it transforms, it serves the community through outreach, business training, mentoring, and professional development. I love it because you mentioned the personal goal setting. And I said in my reading, and my receiving, I receive that you have an activation anointing. You activate what's already on the inside of someone. You just pull it out of them, and I like it because when I think of the twisted threads, I think about inclusiveness, and you mentioned that as well. That everything is together. It's you come together. This person come together. I love the way the illustration of the cake. You know, somebody might make a cake. Somebody make some dirty rice over here. I'm just throwing some other food out there, and someone makes a good roast. Well, we have a meal now,
Yes.
and it was done in collaboration. So just kind of share from what I stated and what you know you do every day. What Okay, I'm the new person that comes to you,
Sure
and
enough.
I have gifts. You see it in me, but I don't see it in myself. What does that look like? How do you
It-
begin to
sure
minister?
enough. It looks like a conversation of, tell me about yourself. Tell me about the things you love. What do you love to do? When you get into a moment of anxiety, what's the first thing that might pop into your mind?
Ah,
Is it shopping? Is it, I got to clean the house? Because listen, that's a gift as
mm,
well. Is it that I need to get in the kitchen and cook every piece of protein? Is it that I need to go and stitch something? Do I need to
yeah,
jackhammer something? Do I need to paint? Do I need to sing a song and songwrite? So most people kind of think of the things that they love as a hobby. And it's like, oh, I
yes,
just do that sometime. Now, if you sing off key, that's not for you. Okay. So we want to be honest
I love
with the
it.
measure of talent that we bring. But here's
We're
something
not putting you on the stage.
that we're not gonna put you on the stage, but here's something. If you could put some little ditties together,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
songwriting is
yeah,
in your
yeah.
future. Like you could
That
put
might be
words
it.
together and you hear a beat drop and there's some words and there's a melody, but you can't get it quite right. I
Yeah.
belong to a writers group, where it's like, okay,
Yes.
everybody is writing something, and and I promise you, these are professional writers. Their
Yeah.
music, their songs are either on the radio, they're in movies and television productions. And
Yes.
so sometimes the other thing is, tell me who you're around.
Tell me. Tell me.
Who do
Who
you
is
spend time with
God?
in
It's
your free
good.
time? Well, I spend time with my mother, or I spend time with my sister, but she get on my nerves because she don't like, people will talk and tell you
Mhm.
about the deficiencies that they have in their life. And then it's not so much that we need to go back and be like, okay, don't spend no time with your sister. That's not what we're gonna
We
say.
don't have to do that.
But we're going to see what areas can be redirected so that you are not malnutritioned in your
Ah,
relationships and the areas that feed you. Because when you are well fed, guess what?
mm,
Literally, it goes out into the world better. Anybody that is not well fed, that is malnutrition, where you gonna find them? In a corner, sitting down,
mm,
taking a nap. They don't have anything to give
ah,
because their cup is not running. But
mm.
literally, what I'm able to do is because I have connections with people like you, Free. The Lord just
Amazing.
sends folks to me, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's my time to eat. Listen, now
My
listen.
time to eat.
When it comes to encouragement, I am a glutton. Okay, I'm eating all the
I'm
encouragement that's
with you.
coming. I'm coming. No, like it's whipped cream and cherries and ice cream and everything.
Yes.
That's how I receive it. But I know when it's my time. I have learned. I don't want to say that I know. And most of us have to learn.
Learning.
When we hear self care, yeah, that's a whole buzzword. But here's the deal:
Yes.
I tell people often, Jesus was the first one that I recall biblically operating in self care when he
Come
said,
on.
I'm gonna
Explain
leave
more.
y'all here down
Yeah.
at the bottom of this mountain, and it's gonna be me and God. That's it. Don't come
Ah,
up here. Don't come no further. It's just me by myself. And we didn't call that self care back then. But what did it do? It rejuvenated him and
yes.
prepared him for the
Yes.
task that was ahead of him. Now, listen, we ain't
That's
getting
good.
crucified. Thank the Lord. We don't have to die for anybody else's sins
Not
because
at
all
all.
y'all gonna be in trouble if y'all waiting on Miss Karen. I promise. Coach Karen gonna you,
Coach say now
that's all we're
I'm
gonna
a
say.
master
I'm gonna
coach, but
pray
we're
for
not doing
you.
that.
No, we're not doing that. But so many lessons when we think about that whole, well, what would
Yeah.
Jesus do? How
What
do
would
I
you do?
represent?
What would
How
you
am I a Christ representative, an
come on?
ambassador of his love, an ambassador
Wow.
to humanity? Because this is not about
Yes. Yeah.
black, white, man, woman thing. We're at odds across the country for so many different things. But this is an opportunity for us to figure out, how do we come together? Self-care is very important, because if you don't, when you get on the airplane, one of my Twisted Threads videos is talking about, when you're on the airplane, they tell you put your mask on first,
Mm-hmm.
and then
First.
go ahead and help somebody else. So if
Yes.
you're not okay, it's okay. Like,
Wow.
don't drink the Kool-Aid for the folks that tell you gotta always be okay. You gotta always have a smile.
Yes. Come on.
If it's a bad day, you might be saving somebody's life by telling, "Psst, I'm having a bad day today. So don't come
Yes.
here with that foolishness that you come up
You may
with.
be
Don't do
stopping them
it.
from
Not
the rap.
today. Not today. Like, let's save both our lives. And
I
I
like
learned
that.
that
Let's say
one
both of
one
our
of the
lives.
things one of the things that I've learned to do, and I saw so many people who, so my mother passed away in 2016, and I know we'll talk a little bit about
We
the
will.
book, and my opportunity to co-author that and
Yes.
talk about, the title of the chapter is called The Last Goodbye. And
Mm.
so many words
Oh
of
my God.
encouragement. I promise you, people were very well intentioned, but
Yes.
then I had to go in a moment and literally side eye to God on behalf of the foolishness that they came by, saying, "Oh no, that's enough time. You don't need to grieve, and all of the things. Your mother's in a better place. I get it, but you
Come
know
on.
what?
I can tell you some stuff too. Wow.
All of the things." And then God allowed me to connect with other women that had gone through similar steps,
Yes.
and we were able to be sounding boards to one another, prayer
Definitely.
partners,
Yes.
listening ears, being able to cry or just sit in silence. Because
Mm.
sometimes that's what it took. We're gonna listen to a song, and it could be the ABCs, or they singing the colors of the rainbow, and we hear in full on tears. And that was part of the therapy. That was part of the
The
healing,
healing.
that
Yes.
part. And a lot of people were, they were lying free. And I'm
Mm.
talking about the church folks,
Oh.
about what grief and grieving was supposed to look like, not just with the loss of my mom, but the loss of
Mhm.
jobs, the loss of other loved ones, the loss of the dreams that we had for ourselves, the loss of the dreams we have for our children. People do not talk properly about the
I
focus
agree.
that we need to have when it comes to grief, because here's the thing that grief can allow if
Mm.
we let it. There's power past it.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
also power
Mhm.
in it. Like, we got to feel it,
We
because the
got
thing
to.
is, if God didn't intend for us to feel grief, He wouldn't have created it. Like, I know that sounds like a
Ah.
crazy thing. He could have erased grief. He'd have been like, I don't
Mm.
want my children to have to
Exactly.
experience that at all.
Exactly.
We're gonna have a Men in Black moment, and we're gonna, switch that bright light, and then you're gonna forget all about it.
Just
But
take it away.
he meant for
Yes.
us to feel it, to have empathy for it, to
Hmm.
not stay in it,
Wow.
but to create a healthy relationship with
Healthy.
how we move either through it, what we do while it comes, because it doesn't ever really go away. That's the lie. That's the lie.
Mm.
It's gonna go away. It get better with time. Guess what?
Ah.
It's been 6 years, and honey, if a song come on, if a picture swing by, or if I see something somewhere that remind me, it's like it's day one all over again. And
All
that
over.
is not a dysfunction for me to allow myself to say, wow, mom, I miss you. Wow, dad, you really made an impact on my life. And literally, here's the best part: nobody will stop you from talking about your deceased mother. Now, if your mother's still alive and you talk about her, people be like, okay, Karen, that's enough about Miss Sally.
Mm.
We don't want to know. But when I
Yes.
say I'm talking about Linda, and that's my mama, they will sit there for days and be like, okay, we just
Hmm.
gonna let her talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
listen. And so then that
Exactly.
becomes a therapy. That becomes, and understanding that there are sections that grief can catapult you into a new era, or it can keep you stuck in a particular area
Mm.
until you realize how to manage it. Now, I'm not an official grief counselor. Normally, I'll tell somebody, feel free, because I am not a mental health professional. But oftentimes, what holds us back may require some time with a mental health professional. And I
Yes,
tell
I
people,
agree.
don't feel badly about, I'm gonna need a couple of sessions or 15 or 55, or
Thank
you
you.
just my new best friend. Be okay with the process, because
Yes.
here's the deal. When we pay for insurance, it's sort of like preventive maintenance. We may
Mm-hmm.
never need the tools that we get with a mental health professional, but because we have them, we know how to change the tire when the tire goes flat. We know what to do if we ain't got no oil, or it's too much sugar in the Kool-Aid, or we done made something too salty. We're equipped with the knowledge so that we can go to the next step. When an obstacle comes, it doesn't have to knock us all the way off, because the whole point of this is that we understand there's a process to winning. And
Yes,
some
it
of us
is.
have struggled so long in our lives.
Mm.
Either we think that winning is for everybody else but us.
Ah, come on
We
now.
think
You
we
talking
think
some
that
true
God
stuff
loves
there.
everybody
Yes.
else but us. We
Wow.
think that we've canceled and disqualified ourselves from any
Mm.
blessings, from any grace or any mercy. I know I'm on somebody's street today, so I
Yeah,
don't feel
you are. You are. You on
about
that.
saying it, because here's the
Yes.
deal. It's, oh my goodness, this is my third marriage, Lord, or I had kids at a wedlock, or
Come
the
on.
the topic of the day, I had an abortion. They talking about me in these streets. What
Yes.
am I supposed to do with this, Lord? I'm out of your will. I'm not living the way that you told me. But here's the deal,
Mm.
and we talked about this today. It only take one yes in your
That's it.
entire shanana. I don't mean the yes that we say from here. I mean the yes that
You
you
say
say
the
from the
entire.
sole of your feet, knowing
Oh,
that God has got you. It only take one of
yes.
those, and He will change your entire life.
Yeah, and
He
it
will
will.
change your
And it
entire life.
really will. And it really will. What motivates you? Because
Wow.
you're a master coach, life coach. You
Yeah.
are a motivating speaker. So you're always pouring and sowing into others. And you know why I'm asking. And we already had this conversation. But what motivates you after
Oh
you
my
have poured
goodness.
out?
You know what? So I tease and I say I'm here for the cake. I'm here for the
Mhm.
cake. I love the celebration of life. I
Yeah.
love the celebration of freedom. I love the celebration when people find that moment within themselves where I once was, where I thought that I needed permission from
Uh,
someone. And there was nobody in my life to give me permission technically, but
Technically, yeah.
I thought that I needed permission from someone to change the direction of my life.
Mm.
And it was funny because I had a season, and she wasn't even a sister, like she was just a
Wow.
friend of a friend. She was actually the mother of one of my son's best friends, and
Okay.
this was after my children had graduated high school, and she was like, if you need permission to reinvent yourself, you got it. And many
Okay.
of us are waiting for that. But I tell you, my
Wow.
why is my
Powerful.
family. My why is my family.
Mhm.
My why is my family. I know it might sound crazy, but I know where God brought us from. I know the things that we went through. I know the stories that my children don't know.
Mm,
And
come on. They don't know
some
the
of the stories
sacrifices.
that they tell me they're gonna sue me if I tell. They like, don't you tell that story. Don't tell that story. But
I love it. They're gonna sue.
I know, yeah, they
Oh,
a
I know.
handful.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thing
Wow, Karen.
when I get to look back over, like
Yes. Oh my
that
God.
gratitude journal of, oh my goodness, Lord, like I didn't have money to pay a bill. I
Wow. Come
literally in
on.
my whole life, I've been a single mother. We had one night that
Mm,
it was like we don't have a place to stay.
my God.
Every other night, God made a provision.
Every.
For my
Mm,
daughter is 30 something, for all those many years. And that was my prayer. Lord, don't let me have to be, out here in these streets and my kids not have. Now,
yes.
did they have Jordans? No, they ain't had. Well, I didn't pay for no Jordans.
Come
They
on.
might have Jordans now, but I didn't pay for them. But the thing is that even in times I used to say, well, they never went to bed hungry. Well, they was greedy. They went to bed hungry,
They
but
went
it
to bed
didn't
wanting
kill them.
more.
I promise you, they was greedy. But God gave so
Yes,
many
God. Mm,
opportunities that right now I pull from that. on difficult
Yes.
days. That's only portion of it, because I'm also a visionary, and I know I believe fully the things that God says to me about where He's looking to
Wow.
take me. And so that's another portion of that hope that I
Yes.
have. I'm like,
Keeping on
Lord,
to
if
that hope.
you do
Holding
a
on.
snippet of what you done said to me, I
Yes.
listen, I'm a okay. And literally, usually he's saying, "Nah, I just need you, Karen, to get out the way, go on and
Uh,
move forward, don't procrastinate." And the vision is there, the provision is there, and how it will pan out. So I really, that's my motivation.
mhm.
I love helping people,
Yes.
and I do it without how do I want to put it? Without expectation for reciprocity. Like
I
it
like
doesn't
that.
matter whether pay the
That's
bill,
it. That's it.
but outside of that, it literally is. I'm here to help you find a better version of yourself. Because what happens
Mhm.
when
That's it.
you show up as a better version from yesterday?
Mhm.
I mean, the whole world around you changes.
It.
Everything
Oh
gets
my God,
better.
transformation is
That
inevitable.
part.
It's
So
gonna
our
happen.
tagline is inspire, impact, transform. That's the
Yes.
tagline, because that's what it takes. First, it takes the inspiration, and then once folks are inspired, they are able to make an impact. And
Yes.
once you start moving forward with that impact, everything around you transforms. And so
Mm.
that's the whole thing behind it. Is why I do what I do, why I'm connected to the people who I'm connected to and drawn to certain type of people, and then why I deflect. Like certain people, they'll be like, "Oh, well, Karen wasn't like that with me." Because I
People
there's certain
preaching
things that
now.
I can't. I literally physically cannot handle when people are like have a lot of foolishness going on. I
Ah, come
love to
on.
have fun. I
Cut it
love to
off.
laugh. I'm not talking about that. I mean, when you like to bring negativity and drama and you want to
Gotta
tear
go.
people down, I'm not here for it. I just it my entire being repels against that. So you either gonna
Absolutely.
switch up, or
Hmm.
you're gonna be over there in that corner and I'm gonna be in my corner, because we still have residual. We often talk on the Unhinged radio show with Tilted
I
Halo
love it.
about the petty pew. Because if when
Yes.
I get on my
Yes.
petty pew,
Yes.
it
I
ain't
have
no
to talk
telling.
about it.
But
Well,
but
I'm
it's a
glad
lot.
you mentioned that. Now you have the radio station, I mean, the radio show that you're on. We're going to talk
Yes.
about that, but first I want to talk about the book,
Yes.
because you are the third co-author that has
Love
graced
it.
Simply Free Little Talk. Come on, pull up the book, put the book up. The depths and diversity in relationships. You mentioned the chapter that you wrote regarding your mother, and you know
Yes.
that was my heart jerker, because my mother crossed over in 2018, and
Wow.
I every day, just 2 days ago, I think I sent you her song. I was just boohooing, just crying like it was, and I remember the last kiss, I remember the last touch. So kind of give us a little bit of what entails in the book that you did, but you're also the corrective educator with your master's education. You're
Yes.
always doing things to correct the content. She's a content writer, or
Yes.
you correct the content.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So I'm
love
the
that about
editor of this particular
you.
book as
Yes.
well. And that was a venture that sometimes necessity will open up destiny. That's what
Come
I'm gonna
on.
say
I
for that.
love that. And that
It
is
was
so
what was needed. It was what was needed. It was like, you know what? Okay, well, we gonna use these degrees and
true.
do
Let's
something
go.
with them. Yes.
Put them to
Um,
work.
the chapter that so the book in itself
Mhm.
talks about the depths and diversity of
Yes.
all different types of relationships.
All
So
relationships.
we got father and daughter, we got mother and daughter, we got marital relationships. So many. We got self-love. There's
Hmm.
so many different things in this book. I promise, like, once we got
Yes.
these writers together and we had a blueprint for what we wanted to say, like, everything else just went in line
It's
all
still in
together. And
place.
so mine is the final chapter for the edition that I edited, and it is called The Last Goodbye.
The
And so I
last
talk
goodbye.
about not just the transition of my mom and her passing, but
Yeah.
also the passing and the sort of flip flop of the responsibilities that I had, where my mother, the person who took care of me my entire life, even into my adulthood, now needed me to take care
Yeah.
of her and
Yes.
needed
Mm.
to trust me with decisions that were literal life and death decisions. And so
Yes.
understanding the depth of that.
It was
And
depth.
I say in the book, I didn't want to make any of that. I want my mother to get up, tell me what to do, and this
Yes.
time I'ma listen. I promise the other
Mm.
50 times I didn't, but this time, if you tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it this time. And so really
Yes.
being open and transparent and saying, that little girl inside of me, just I don't
Mm.
want nothing to change. Let everything stay the same. But there was a purpose and something that had to
Yes.
happen because I needed that responsibility to care
Mhm.
for her. And it wasn't me by myself. It was my sister, my twin sister. I always say that the best gift my mother gave me was my sister, because she knew
Oh,
that I would need her. She knew,
yes.
all those things.
All
And
of that.
and so within the chapter, I shared a snippet of how that transition came about, what it meant for me and my identity to now have to take care of her, and all of the things that needed to go into place
Yes.
with that, because my dad is still here, so he was there helping take care, and he's like, "That's my wife, well, that's my mother." And how do we handle
Everybody want to
those
pull rank.
things? Yeah, exactly. But mama was an independent woman, so it was certain things that that's all I'm
I
gonna say on that.
understand.
It was like, nope, my daughter gonna take care of that because you all right
Yeah.
over there.
Yes.
And it was a transition. But I also had the gift that I knew when her last day was, and
Yes.
all the saints came and they was praying, and your mother coming home, but God had already put it in my
He'd
heart
already
to
given you the
prepare.
peace. Yes.
So it was like prepare. And so every time I had an inkling, at the time I was living in Pennsylvania and my mom was in New Jersey, and if I thought about her, I got in my car. It was an hour and 10 minutes away, and I would drive that hour to go see her, go back to work, or all of those things that happened during that time. But the one thing that I was able to take away after her passing, I had no regret, no regret, because
I love that.
everything that, when God said go ahead on over there, and I'm like, well, I ain't got no money for no gas, I'm gonna
Mhm.
go anyway. And then I would go there and somebody would bless me with money to get back, or however it happened. But I went in faith, knowing that I didn't have time for a breakdown whenever the last day was. But I literally, and my kids tease me about this because I said to them, on that last day, the room was filled and the angels were there. And I told my mother, the angels are here to take you the rest of the way. And they
Yes.
like, you told her to die? These are my children.
They think like that,
That
but that
is not
wasn't
what
it.
happened. But really
I
understanding that
love kids and their thoughts.
transition, I promise. But the transition was, I knew when I left that evening that
Mhm.
it was my last goodbye. And all of the heart-wrenching things you could think about. I don't want the night to end. I need this day to last forever. But there was revelation on that next morning, even in her passing. And
Mm.
so God never left me.
Yes.
It wasn't a bad transition, in the sense of, I found myself like, oh my goodness, I'm by myself. He does all things well. He did everything well with
All
that.
things well.
Yeah. And so thinking about the transition, thinking about the different, so I definitely promote the book, not just because of
Yes.
my writing, but
No.
because I promise you, through these pages, we've got 10 women that poured out their heart on talking and speaking
Definitely.
about whether it's relationship with jobs. One was talking about her time in the military, just so many different stories to
So many
get us
aspects.
thinking, different aspects and perspectives on
Yeah.
how we show up in
Yes.
relationships, and how
Yes.
it's different for everybody. Like every
Yes.
person has a different relationship with their mother, or with their father, or with their loved ones, and it's not all lost. I promise.
Mm.
Mine is a little bit
Not
of
at
a tear
all.
jerker,
It's all
but
purpose.
it's all life. And I think
Yes.
that's the thing, that's the most important part of it. It is talking about life, love,
Mhm.
relationships, and how we maneuver throughout the world through each of those relationships. So
I love it. Two things, and I know we have to wrap it up. It's always my pleasure to speak with you because there's so many similarities. I love it. But I want you to end with the adoption series, but now speak about your radio show where you are the
yes,
co-host
yes.
with another co-author. You
So, I tell the story about how Tilted Halo,
yes,
aka
Tilted
Nakia
Halo.
Hansford. I mean, this sister walked right up to me at a church service and she was
Mm,
like, I don't know you, but I need to. Like literally. And that was how we
yes,
met. And
that's
we
her.
have been, and God has been amazing in our lives ever since. And
Yes.
it's one of those things because I side-eyed her like, okay, well, I never had anybody
Who are
approach me
you?
wife like her. She's like, I don't know you, but I know that I need to know
I
you. And
love that
literally, it
about
was
her.
like,
I love it.
okay, well, you probably do, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna need you to back up a few steps because I don't know you. But literally, it's been decades. At least a
I love
decade
you
and
too.
some years,
I
and
love you too for
and
that.
I promise, because when the Lord sends somebody, and
Yes.
sometimes we get those messages and we be like, Lord, no, you didn't mean for me to go over
Oh
there
my
and
goodness.
tell this person I don't know her. Like she could be crazy and maybe okay, all of the things.
All of us
The
together.
Unhinged Radio Show with Tilted Halo.
Yes.
God is moving in a wonderful way, and I
Yes,
started
yes.
as a special guest there, and now
Oh,
I'm a co-host. And we really look to just bring life and laughter and good content to
yes.
folks. And most
Good
oftentimes
comment.
people are like, "Oh, what do you do? Just get on that." No, we got product. This is a whole production.
It
Okay,
is. It
we come
really
in here
is.
and we want to make sure that we're doing things in excellence. And so, one of her other things, and she told me probably a few years ago, she's like, look, this is my vision. I'm
Hmm.
gonna do it. She said, but I ain't gonna have time for you to get ready. So when I call you, just be ready. And that's one of my favorite lines. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That I don't know
Exactly.
if there's a Jersey thing,
Exactly.
but that's my thing all the time. Always be ready because you never know when opportunity is going to present itself,
You
and
never
you don't
know.
like the what is it, the five wise and the five foolish. We ain't
Come
got time
on.
to go back and get no oil. We got to make sure we got it. And so we are continuing to grow the brand. Right now we're airing on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and just excited for what God is doing because there's more to come. We got
Yes, yes,
merchandise and we
Lord.
got more production. We
Oh,
are so happy to be affiliated with you, Free, and
thank
our
you. I
Texas
love you
affiliates
guys.
that
Yes.
continue to grow. And just everything that's happening, it to certain people it'll be like, well, wow, they just got on the scene. No, we've been
No,
doing
been there.
this. We
Your
have been
time has
doing
been sown, yes, and now
yes,
that's why
yes,
you're reaping that. But let's
yes.
go into adoption series. Come on, I want
Sure.
people to know about that. I couldn't leave
So
without you explaining that.
yeah, so one of the things, so when Twisted Threads was kind of a baby, I officially launched Twisted Threads in 2018. And so I had moved away from family, and then my kids started getting grown, and they were dating and decided they wanted to get married, and my son Joseph had a young lady in his life, and I really didn't know a lot about her, but I didn't want none of these people calling me Ma. Don't call me Ma.
I love this
Listen,
story, guys.
I didn't have all good experiences with the people calling
I
me Ma.
get it.
So
I get
I
it.
didn't know how I felt about new people calling me Ma.
On the
And so
block.
I started these video conversations, and the whole kind of playlist was called the Adoption Series, and it was just me in my living room, on the street, just anywhere, like, okay, here go the thing today. And I was being transparent
Transparent,
with
yes.
the transformation that I was going through to make space for another person in my life. Now, a lot of times that could actually be a real adoption. To me, this was me adopting this young lady into
Hmm.
our family because that's what it said. You're going to come and you're going to cling to your
Yes.
husband. Well, her husband was on my side. That meant that I had to connect with her too. And God
That's
took us
right.
through a series of I want to call it just a series of events that help us fortify and grow our relationship. I didn't
That's
do it
it.
well. Like this mother-in-law thing.
I didn't take to that.
Like I barely got out of the being a mother alive, and here you go. Like you want me to do another round of this.
Oh,
And
that's too
so it was
funny.
very interesting. But that adoption series was what started, and so it was pre Reflections of Purpose, and Reflections of
Yes.
Purpose is my YouTube series where I do my
That's
video
awesome.
blogging, talking about different topics and giving people pointers on how to add it. And so now my friends and those who have been a part of those videos or have listened to them, they call it being twisted threaded. It's like, okay, I've been
And
twisted
twisted thread,
threaded
they can
today.
put it together.
I've been threaded today. I could go head on with the rest of
I
my day.
love
But
it.
the adoption series was something very personal
Yes.
because it not only chronicled a transformation for me,
Mhm.
but also highlighted how we have to go through those transformation processes at different stages of
Of our
our life. So
lives. Wow.
whether you are going into being from a mother to being a grandmother, from being a girlfriend to a wife, Lord have mercy, so all of those things. And okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, free. Whether you going to be in from
I
the
knew it
side
was
chick to
coming.
the main chick, I was like, I can't say that, Lord. But listen, that one was sanctioned, so that's all. Some of us need to learn how to move from being the side chick
Oh
to the
God.
only choice,
Oh
because
my goodness.
different relationships we
Hmm.
may not ever recover if we don't
Never.
go through the process of that
My,
healing.
my.
Like most people don't think, okay, well, I was a side chick because I wanted to be. Well, okay, that's usually right. But how do you maintain an actual relationship if all you've ever known
Is
was
being
being a
a
side
side
chick?
chick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
that's
that's
a
a
good
whole
one.
nother.
That's we got to come back on that
We put
for
that one
another
under the
show.
KK Chronicles. That's all we're
Oh
gonna
my
say because
goodness.
that's not a twisted thread thing.
That's
But
not.
there's
Yeah,
deliverance available for you too.
I
And it's
love you,
a
Karen.
transition. So
This
when
is
we
good.
think about that, the adoption series speaks
Yes.
to that. Another series I'll mention really quickly is our series, The World is Waiting for You. And that
Yes.
is strictly a motivational series to remind us of our individual giftings. You will never be
Yes.
like Karen because God didn't
Never.
mean for you to be like Karen, but you will be the best free that this world has ever
Absolutely.
seen. And so when
Absolutely.
we're
I will.
reminded that the world is waiting for your version of banana pudding, see,
Ah,
I
come
talk
on.
about food a lot because as women, we cook and sometimes we think
Yes.
like, oh, I'm just doing a little thing. But listen, that's how Sarah Lee got started. That's how
Come on. A
Auntie
little
Annie's
something
and
out
them
of her
essentials
kitchen.
got started. And now they multi-billion-dollar companies.
Come
I'm
on.
speaking
Just
that
a little stuff.
multi-billion-dollar blessing on your life. Just
I
send
receive it.
me a
I receive it.
spoon. Send
I
me a spoon or
receive it.
something. So really wanting to motivate folks and reminding like the
Yes,
world
you
is waiting for us while we're sitting here waiting for the
do.
next Oprah,
Mhm.
waiting for the next Maya. That's us.
That is us.
That is
We are
us.
here.
And when we activate, we get to not only enrich the people who are around
Yes.
us. And I want to say this, I do feel led to say this, free, is
Mhm.
that there are oftentimes many people who will say, I want to write a book, even me being a co-author and me
Yes.
starting to author my own projects. And then you see somebody else write something that's similar to your story. I still
Mm.
want to encourage you, write your story. Why?
Write your
Because
story.
their story doesn't have your perspective,
Come
and
on.
their
That's right.
story will find their people.
That's
But
right.
your story
I
is for
love
the
this
people who God has charged to be in your life.
in
Because
your
maybe
life.
you'll never meet an Oprah. Maybe you'll never meet me. Listen, I'll be out here in these streets. I might have my mask on, but just remember the flower. That's how you're gonna
We'll
know
know
it's
you by
me.
your flowers, Karen.
Remember the flowers, because
We'll know the
I'm
flowers.
probably gonna be masked up. But there is something inside of you
Yes.
that God has
Speak to the
said,
people.
I need this in
Yes.
all the earth. Imagine that.
All
Now,
the
somebody listening
wow.
to this doesn't think about themselves, and this is not egotistical. I promise you, I'm bragging on my God when I go into rooms, when they want to give me awards, when they want to say, Karen, we
Yes.
want you to come through
Multiple
for
numerous awards
being a
you've won,
speaker, or
guys.
when I get the opportunity to mentor young men and women, I remind them that what you see today is not how it started.
Come
But
on.
every chapter mattered to get me to the point. And now
Every
it
chapter.
literally, McFadden and Whitehead ain't no stopping us now. Why?
I love
Because
it. I
I've
love it.
tasted the goodness of God and I know what He can do. I've seen
We've
what
seen the
He could
goodness.
do
We know
with
what
just
he
a
can do.
yes, with just
Yes.
a
Thank
yes, with
you.
just a yes.
Karen, thank you for coming on. Let me say this for those that have chimed in a little late. You're okay. Go back, share, like, subscribe. Go back and listen. We're going to sign off together, Karen. So that's why I'm not going to take you out of the studio. Karen is the CEO of Twisted Threads. She is an amazing motivational speaker. She is a master life coach, and she is all about inspiring others. I want to read this thought about you before we leave. She transforms lives through the faith based holistic solutions. So this is a lady that takes someone and say, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk. What do you want to do? And from there, she begins to let them pour out what it is they think they want to do or that they want to do. And then she helps cultivate it. I love that. You help transfer. You are impacting, you're influencing, you're inspiring. And I love the transformation part. That's where I just love to see that. Because what you said about the chapters is so true. Who you see me today in this chapter at 54, the next chapters to come, I'm a whole different person at another level of excellence, God's excellence.
Yes.
So
I'm
I love it.
celebrating with you. I'm excited.
Yes, thank you. And with you as well. So
Thank
we
you.
want to motivate, we want to inspire, we want to draw people in. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in to Simply Free Little Talk. We thank you for the opportunity for you to listen to my amazing sister. She is totally an inspiration within herself. She is the embodiment of God's love. His essence is all over you, Karen. Thank you for giving me the honor of interviewing you and giving you this platform of Simply Free Little Talk so that you can share with them your wonderful testimony. But we got to bring you back another time so you can really tell them more in detail of what you and your children went through. Tell them kids they better not try to do it. I got some good attorneys on my side.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Because she
They
have
already know. Well, we'll change the names for
we'll
whoever's
change the names
innocent.
for the
They're
to
not
protect
innocent though.
innocent.
That's the only thing I can
But the
say.
truth of the matter is the challenges and the struggles that you've gone through
Yeah.
has brought you to this place today. Listen, y'all, Karen went through a lot, but listen, I love to say this. She now has a bachelor's degree in arts and marketing and look, and an education. Her master's is in education. So
Yes.
I like to tell this about you, Karen. With your testimony, you inspire, you impact, and you transform others' lives through what your life has been inspired, impacted, and transforming other lives. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Be
Thank you.
blessed, everyone. Remember, share, like, and subscribe. Be blessed. Thank you.
Thank